Good morning, students. In the last session, we have studied which are the different physical properties of metals and non-metals. In this session, I am going to teach chemical properties of metals and non-metals, right? So the first point, reaction with oxygen. Okay, so in this lesson, in this session, I'm going to teach how does it react with oxygen, how does it react with the water and acids and bases. Clear? So first, we're going to see how these metals and non-metals will react with oxygen. So you are familiar with the phenomenon of rusting of iron. You have learned that in both the process, oxide formation takes place. Okay, rusting, it's a very common term for you. So if there is any metal or iron you think, so just you take one example, one your window. Usually you know it's made up of iron. Usually we can see that is painted. Suppose there is no paint or you think in one part there is no paint is gone. What will happen? That part is getting rusted. Why it is getting rusted? So that iron is reactive with surrounding air, the air which contains oxygen, and it forms iron oxide. Okay, that is the reason it's getting rusted. So the rust means usually they will be forming the oxide formation. It will take place. Clear? Iron oxide like that. The next, yes, there is one activity is given. Let us check the nature of rust formed as a result of the reaction between iron, oxygen, and water. Okay, how the rust is formed. I told iron usually it mixed with or it react with oxygen and also the surrounding air which contains sometimes water vapor. Okay, suppose in the air, surrounding air always it contains different types of gases and also it also contains water vapor also present in that. Clear? So this iron it reacts with oxygen and water and forming the oxides. Let us learn very detailed manner how it is happening. Collect a spoon full of rust and dissolve it in a very little amount of water. Take any one rusted objects, you can rub it, you will be able to get that, you can collect the rust. Then take one spoon of rust. What you should do, you have to dissolve it in a very little amount of water. You will find that the rust remains suspended in water. So all this rust, it will go settle down. Shake the suspension well. You can shake it well. Test the solution with red and blue litmus paper. What you observe is a solution acidic or basic. So first, what you have taken the rust or this powdery rust, take little water, both you have to mix it, and after some time you can see that it is suspended or it will go and settle down. You shake the suspension well, take little solution from that. You're going to put little or one drop on red litmus paper and also you're going to put one drop on blue litmus paper. What you're going to see? Okay, what you observe is a solution. From that, the color will, litmus paper color will change. From that, you can make out whether it is acidic or basic. We'll see the observation. You might have observed that the red litmus turns blue. Okay, so you have taken two litmus paper. One is red litmus, another one is blue litmus paper. You can put one drop in both the papers. You can see that red litmus turns blue. So oxide of magnesium, that is magnesium oxide, is also basic in nature. If the red litmus paper turns blue means what it indicates? It shows magnesium oxide is basic in nature. In general, metallic oxides are basic in nature. Clear? So here metal reacted with oxygen forming metallic oxides. So metallic oxides are what in nature? They are basic and not acidic, basic in nature. Clear? So here magnesium, same like even the magnesium oxide you can form. How can you form the magnesium oxide? Take one magnesium ribbon. Take one magnesium ribbon, just burn it. You will be getting the ash. That ash you can dissolve it, mix it with water. Take one drop from that, you can put it into both the litmus paper, red litmus paper and also in blue litmus paper. You can see that the red litmus it turns blue. It shows that it is basic in nature. Clear? So metallic oxides are basic in nature. The next one is another activity. Take a small amount of powdered sulfur in a deflagrating spoon and heat it. If deflagrating spoon is not available, you may take a metallic cap of any bottle and wrap a metallic wire around it. So first what you should take, you have to take little sulfur, make it powder, you're going to take that powder, sulfur powder. Usually you can take in a spoon, that spatula like thing what we are using in the chemistry lab, or if it is not available, you can take one metallic cap and wrap a metallic wire around it. I'll show you now. Like this. Okay. So this is a spatula type deflagrating spoon. If it is not available, what you can take one metallic cap and wrap with a metallic wire. Okay, then inside this, you are taking the sulfur powder. Then, as soon as sulfur starts burning, then you're going to heat it. As soon as sulfur starts burning, introduce the spoon into a glass jar or glass tumbler. Cover the tumbler with a lid to ensure that the gas produced does not escape. So it starts burning, you have to introduce the spoon into a gas jar or glass tumbler and cover with the lid. Why are you covering with the lid? The gas produced does not escape. Remove the spoon after some time. Slowly you can remove the spoon. Add a small quantity of water into the tumbler and quickly replace the lid. Add little water into that and replace the lid. Shake the tumbler well. Check the solution with red and blue litmus papers. Then you're going to check with red and blue litmus papers. So this activity I told, you have to take sulfur powder. You can take in this spoon, or else if it is not available, you can make one metallic cap and wrap with a wire, metallic wire. Okay, so this is improvised deflagrating spoon. Then you take one glass jar, bring that once, first what you're supposed to do, you have to heat this sulfur powder. It will start, smoke will come, gas will come. Immediately you have to bring it inside this glass jar and cover with the lid. Okay, because the gas should not escape. After some time, slowly you can remove this spoon and add little water and you have to shake well. Okay, clear. Then after this, what is observation? The name of the product formed in the reaction of sulfur and oxygen is sulfur dioxide gas. So sulfur powder, it mixed with, when you heated means it mix burning. Burning means what? It react with oxygen. Oxygen and this sulfur dioxide gas forms. When sulfur dioxide is dissolved in water, then after that I told you have to add little water. Sulfur dioxide is dissolved in water, sulfurous acid is formed. The reaction can be given as follows: sulfur dioxide SO2 plus water H2O, it gives sulfurous acid H2SO3. Clear? So here one sulfur, you can see here, then hydrogen H2, two hydrogen atoms, oxygen O2 plus O3. So here it became O3. So sulfurous acid is formed. Clear? The sulfurous acid turns blue litmus paper red. It's an acid. So here what is formed? Here acid is formed. It turns blue litmus paper red. Then after that the solution you can put in both the litmus papers. You can see that blue litmus paper, it turns red. What it indicates, what it shows, that solution is acid, acidic in nature. So generally oxides of non-metals are acidic in nature. So what you learn from this? Oxides of, before we told, oxides of metals are basic in nature. Here oxides of non-metals are acidic in nature. Clear, children? So the sulfurous acid turns blue litmus paper to red. If the blue litmus paper turn into red, what it shows? It shows the presence of acid. Okay, so oxides of non-metals are acidic in nature. The next, reaction with water. Let us see how metals and non-metals react with water. Okay, sodium metal, if you have one example, sodium metal is very reactive. It reacts vigorously with oxygen and water. A lot of heat is generated. We can tell it is an exothermic reaction. Heat is generated or liberated, that is exothermic reaction. A lot of heat is generated in the reaction. It is therefore stored in kerosene. So why it is stored in kerosene? Because sodium is a metal, it's a very reactive metal. If it is react with oxygen very fast, vigorously the reaction will take place. Same like with water, vigorous reaction will take place, very fast reaction will take place. To avoid that, what we will do, we will put inside we will store in kerosene. Okay, it should not get contact with oxygen or water, and it should, that is the reason we are storing in kerosene. A lot of heat is generated in the reaction. It is therefore stored in kerosene. To be demonstrated by the teacher. During demonstration, special care should be taken that the size of the sodium metal piece is roughly the size of a wheat grain. So how much sodium you have to take? You have to take very little sodium. You should take only the size of a wheat grain. It should be held with a pair of tongs. You know what is tongs means? For holding the chemistry lab, we'll be using the tongs to hold the things. We cannot use our free hand. It should be held with a pair of tongs. During observation, keep away from the beaker. Observation time also, because it's very reactive metal, sodium. Keep away from the beaker. So what is this activity? Activity 5. Take 250 ml of beaker or glass tumbler. So you have taken one beaker or glass tumbler, 250 ml. Fill half of it with water. Take half filled with water. Now carefully cut a small piece of sodium metal. Take one small piece of sodium metal. Dry it using filter paper and wrap it in a small piece of cotton. So take the small piece sodium, first you dry with filter paper and wrap in a small piece of cotton. Put the sodium piece wrapped in cotton into the beaker. Then you can put inside this water. So because it's half filled with water, take the sodium and put inside this water. So what will happen? Reaction will take place. When reaction stops, touch the beaker. What do you feel? Has the beaker become hot? You can see that yes, obviously the beaker, because it produces heat. It is exothermic reaction. It produces a lot of heat, so the beaker will be hot. Has the beaker become hot? Test the solution with red and blue litmus papers. Is the solution acidic or basic in nature? Okay. So here, when you mix with the sodium plus water, what will form? Sodium hydroxide will form. Okay. So when you mix sodium with water, a colorless solution will form. That colorless solution, it is sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. Also it will liberate. Sodium hydroxide, what is? It is basic in nature. Sodium hydroxide, what it is? Basic in nature. So it is basic means red litmus turns blue. Clear, children? So I'll repeat once more. You are adding sodium into this water. Sodium hydroxide will form. Along with that, NaOH, sodium hydroxide, NaOH plus H2. That is a reaction. Na, sodium plus H2O. It gives rise to NaOH, sodium hydroxide plus H2, hydrogen gas. If you are balancing the equation, it will be 2Na plus 2H2 gives rise to NaOH plus H2. So sodium hydroxide, it forms, that is, sodium hydroxide, what it is, acid or base? It's base. It's basic in nature. So it turns red litmus to blue. Clear? Test the solution with red and blue litmus paper. Is the solution acidic or basic? You can see here it is basic in nature. Here red litmus, it turns into blue. You observe that sodium reacts vigorously with water. Some other metals do not do so. Sodium, it reacts very vigorously, but other metals do not do. For example, iron reacts with water very slowly. If you are taking iron, it's also metal, but it reacts with water slowly. Generally, non-metals, if you are taking non-metals, this is in the case of metal, non-metals do not react with water, though they may be very reactive in air. So they are reactive in air, you think, but usually the non-metals do not react with water. Such non-metals are stored in water because it will not react with water here, so you can store it in water. For example, best example is given phosphorus. Phosphorus is a very reactive non-metal. It catches fire if exposed to air. To prevent the contact of phosphorus with atmospheric oxygen, it is stored in water. Okay, so phosphorus, it is a non-metal. It is very reactive with atmospheric oxygen or atmospheric air. It catches fire if exposed to air. So what we will do? We will take this phosphorus and we will store in water. Okay, to prevent the contact of phosphorus with atmospheric air, it is stored in water to avoid this accident. Clear, children? Yeah, this is what are the precautions you have to take. So always keep the mouth of the test tube away from your face. Otherwise, when we heat it, it may boil, it may fall on your face. Then use test tube holder to hold the test tube. So always a test tube you have to hold with a test tube holder, not with the free hand. Then next is activity 6. Take samples of metals and non-metals in separate test tubes and label them A, B, C, D, E, F with the help of A, B, C, D. So you are taking metals and non-metals. You can take 5 test tubes. You can name them A, B, C, D, E, F. With the help of a dropper, add 5 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid to each test tube one by one. So then after this, you're going to add which acid? Dilute hydrochloric acid. 5 ml. In each test tube, you're going to add 5 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid. Observe the reactions carefully. If no reaction occurs in a cold solution, warm the test tube gently. Sometimes in the cold solution, this reaction won't take place, so you can just warm them. Bring a burning stick near the mouth of each test tube. Repeat the same. So next what you're going to do, you are going to bring one matchstick near the mouth of each test tube. Let us see what is going to happen. So one more thing they told, instead of dilute hydrochloric acid, what you can use, even you can use dilute sulfuric acid also. Okay, then you can record the observation. So when you bring the matchstick, what will happen? Let us see. Is there a difference in the way metals and non-metals react with acids? What could be pop sound in some cases be due to when a burning matchstick is brought near the mouth of the test tubes? We'll see the observation. You must have found that non-metals generally do not react with acids, but metals react with acids and produce hydrogen gas that burns with a pop sound. Okay, so usually, so in the different test tubes, you have taken metal and non-metal. In each test tube, you added acid, hydrochloric acid. So you're going to see how the metals and non-metals, it will react with acid. So when you bring the matchstick near the mouth of the test tube, in some test tube you can hear the pop sound. What is the pop sound means? Because hydrogen gas is produced. So that is metal. If there is no pop sound means there is no hydrogen gas, reaction did not take place. Clear? So you must have found that non-metals generally do not react with acids, but metals react with acids and produce what? Hydrogen gas that burns with a pop sound. You must have noticed that. Another example they are telling, copper does not react with the dilute hydrochloric acid even on heating, but it reacts with sulfuric acid. Okay. So it will not with, especially one example they given, it's a copper, it do not react with hydrochloric acid. If we are heating also, it won't react, but it reacts with sulfuric acid. So this is a observation. So metal react with acids, it produces what? Hydrogen gas. That is the reason you are getting the pop sound. But non-metal do not react with acids. So when you bring matchstick next to the non-metals or in that particular test tube, you will not get the pop sound. It means there is no hydrogen gas, reaction did not take place. During the preparation of sodium hydroxide solution, care should be taken that pellets of sodium hydroxide are handled with plastic spatula. So you cannot take with the hand, you have to use plastic spatula for sodium hydroxide. So we'll see the next experiment. Yes, activity. Take a fresh solution of sodium hydroxide in a test tube by dissolving 3 to 4 pellets of it in 5 ml of beaker. So you have taken 5 ml of water. Drop a piece of aluminum foil into it. Bring a burning matchstick near the mouth of the test tube. Observe carefully. So here, what you're going to make? You are going to make the fresh solution of sodium hydroxide. It's a base. It's not an acid. Before we tested with acid, now we are going to test with base. So what base we are going to use? Sodium hydroxide. How can you make fresh sodium hydroxide solution? You take 5 ml water in a take one beaker and take 5 ml of water, add 3 to 4 pellets of it, sodium hydroxide, it will dissolve into that. Okay, so it dissolved, base is ready. Then you have to add a drop a piece of aluminum foil into this. In the picture you can see, you can add aluminum foil. So one is base, one is metal. Aluminum foil into it. So bringing matchstick near the mouth of the test tube, observe carefully. You can see that if you are bringing next to that, you will get that pop sound. It means it liberates, it gives out hydrogen gas. Okay, it gives out hydrogen gas and you will get pop sound. If you are getting pop sound, what is the meaning? It shows the presence of hydrogen gas. So reaction taken place between sodium hydroxide and aluminum foil, base and metal. Clear? You can take one more activity. You can do one more activity. Same like you can take 5 beakers, A, B, C, D, E, F in one copper sulfate and zinc granule, second copper sulfate and iron nail, whereas copper sulfate, zinc sulfate and copper turnings, iron sulfate and copper turnings, zinc sulfate and iron nail. So you are taking different metals, non-metals and base. Okay, we'll see. Let us see what is going to happen in different beakers. Here you see you have taken 5 beakers. Okay, so I told what are the things you have taken: copper sulfate, zinc granule, copper sulfate, iron nail, zinc sulfate, copper turnings, iron sulfate, copper turnings, zinc sulfate, iron nail. Okay, as before, the pop sound indicates the presence of hydrogen gas. Metals react with sodium hydroxide to produce hydrogen gas. I already told metals react with the sodium hydroxide to produce what? Hydrogen gas. So when you bring the matchstick, what we will get? We will get pop sound. Reactions of non-metals with bases are complex. So these are the about the metals. Metal react with base. Sodium hydroxide is a base. It gives out hydrogen gas and we will get pop sound. The reactions of non-metals with bases are complex. Thank you, students.